Bienvenidos a Todos son inspiración. Today we are going to be talking about my favorite Dungeons and Dragons class. But first, I used to play more of the melee types, at least when I played video games. For some reason, it never translated over when I started playing tabletop games. Dragon Age, I always stuck with a rogue. In Mass Effect 2 and 3, when the games got actually figured out, I was playing more of a Vanguard type. I like to be up close and bopping things. Might explain why I like to play orcs in my other games. When I started playing Dungeons & Dragons for the first time, the first game I ever played, if you remember, I played a cleric. And then after that, I played a wizard. For some reason, I felt it necessary to fill in a niche and be the utility caster. In the last 2.5 years, I started to really figure out something about Dungeons & Dragons, especially being on the opposite side of the screen. As a dungeon master, where things really get magical is when you start to embrace randomness. To that end, in my most recent game as a player, my buddy Sam, I switched out my bard, Deca, which was basically a budget Scanlan Shorthalt, and yet another utility caster, and switched him out for Jacob, my wild magic sorcerer. Goodbye, Swiss Army Knife. Hello, Tactical Nuke. Why sorcery? Sure, there's sorcery points and there's meta magic. And what about Draconic? Sure, you might be a little less squishy. You might do a little bit more damage. You'll eventually get to fly, and if you get that far, you might even turn a little spoopy. So why wild magic? 3 little words. Wild magic Surge. What it is when you cast a spell, your DM can, not will, but can, and if he is a DM that wants to have a little fun, he should definitely make you do this, but when you cast a spell at first level or higher, you roll a d20, and if it lands on a 1, you will trigger a wild magic surge, at which point you roll a d100, something pretty fucking random happens. Now, it's worth mentioning that randomness might be something that people tend to discourage at the table, but there is a distinction between randomness from the dice and randomness from a person. People who play chaotic evil characters or chaotic neutral characters are random for the sake of being random and thinks that's supposed to be funny or clever when there's no rhyme or reason to it. The thing is, being a player, you have control, but you're doing things that are out of control because you're just kind of being a dick and kind of selfish. When the dice decide to do something, they're impartial. They are not making any decision of positive or negative effects. It's kind of up to you to respond to it. So back to the wild magic surge. If you roll a 1 on a d20, then you trigger wild magic surge. Now, that's only a 5% chance, you might say, and I will commend you on your awesome math. But there's also a thing called Tides of Chaos. Now, everybody complains about how lucky is such an overpowered feat, but they haven't taken a look at what Tides of Chaos will do. Tides of Chaos can be chosen at any given point by the Wild Magic Sorcerer to give you advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws, which is basically like half of what luck is, arguably the better half. And then that resets when you take a long rest. Unless your DM on your next first level or above spellcast says, roll on the Wild Magic Surge table. This skips the 5% chance and just makes it fucking happen. Now, why would you want random shit to happen? Because on the whole, things are either neutral or positive, with the rare occasion of things being kind of crippling. And when it happens, it's still fucking hilarious. It's the whole point. What is on the Wild Magic Search table? All kinds of weird and wonderful and random ass shit. You might have to speak in a screaming voice for the next minute. In character.
Hey guys, I think we should run!
I heard that!
Oh shit!
You might be reincarnated, like I was, who went from an orc to a dragonborn to a rock gnome to an elf. Or you could be turned into a potted plant and then be tossed out of the window of the throne room in a certain vampire lord's castle, take 66 points of damage because you're vulnerable in that state, and be knocked out cold right after having thrown a cyclone of silverware at the guy. But why put yourself and oftentimes your group into such chaos? Why embrace it? Because it's already chaos thanks to this little guy. So what's a little more? And you'll get used to handling everything that gets thrown your way maybe even just a little faster. Like when the reincarnation of Strahd von Zarevitch's true love rejects your advances, it'll pale in comparison to the time that you got teleported to an inky black plane and almost get eaten by an astral dreadnought. Kind of puts things into perspective. And it just makes for a great story. Now, if you guys want me to share more about the Strahd campaign that my buddy Sam is running, then feel free to write something to me in the comments below. Tomorrow will be my favorite game world. Might be a little shorter. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say for that yet. In the meantime, play D&D. Don't get fired.